Go.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of episode 15 of Digitized Desperadoes. We are talking about Overlord, the anime,
2015.
the first
Is there
season.
another one? Oh yeah, there's more seasons.
There's two
Forgot about
seasons
that.
that happened like this year.
Yeah, we're just talking about the first season. Specifically, I mean, I'm assuming the show remains consistent in its quality and style.
You
That's-
assume that.
I
You
mean,
would-
at the same
one would
time,
think,
there's
I
a
mean-
lot of instances where that is not the case.
I'll just say that I believe the third season just recently finished. People are very disappointed with it.
Wow.
I
Okay.
think people were like happy with 2,
People
then-
2 was fine.
and then like 3 people were like,
At the end of 3, I kept up on the Reddit threads. At the end of season 3, people were like, ugh,
Really? Okay.
yes.
Well, this is season 1.
But this is only season
Yeah.
1, so forget that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah. It's good to
The
know
initial
where a
13
series is
episodes.
going to go. I mean, in general.
Yeah, it might influence your decision to watch more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, plot generally, it's an isekai where this guy was playing this MMO that's getting shut down, and suddenly he's like literally in it. Like he is his character, and the world is real.
but it's also not because it's like it's a different world.
Yeah.
It's like him and the like NPCs around him have been transported to like a fantasy world.
Basically, the whole thing is about this guild master of a role playing group who suddenly has all of his OCs and him transported into a completely unrelated fantasy world.
Okay, yeah, that
And
makes
he
more
has
sense.
all of his stupidly OP abilities and everything.
Well, he was max level, so he
So yeah,
remains
so
max
it's
level.
just how dealing with being like the strongest guy in a world you don't understand.
And also trying to come to terms with the fact that you're now a skeleton.
And all your friends are gone.
Yeah,
Well, all your real friends.
Exactly.
all the real friends he had. Well, that's sad.
Um,
I don't think he's ever talked about like real friends.
No,
Just other than, like,
there's a
in-game
few
friends.
flashbacks to the good old days.
he talks a lot. Okay, he makes a lot of reference to his guild friends.
Yeah,
They name drop a lot,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
and then later he gets the weapon and stuff like that.
Anyway, the most of the show is just about him trying to figure out what the fantasy world is like, what powers he keeps from the RPG, because it's not an RPG anymore, it's real life for him.
In war, but if you die in a game, you die in real life. Little
But in
dummy.
this, the game is real life.
Yes.
I mean,
This ain't
When
no game.
when I first watched this, 3 years ago when it came out, I didn't realize it was an isekai.
But now we know.
What did you think?
I just thought he was still playing the game.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's some weird, theory or like some weird like reveal that they do. Like it's all in his head, like something like that. But for now, in all intents and purposes.
Well, no, I thought the premise was that he just continued to play the RPG beyond when it was terminated, but everything was gaining sentience in the program,
Oh.
which I thought was really interesting.
That is also a very interesting concept that
But that's not.
they didn't come up
you
with.
could certainly explore that in something else.
But that's not what it is.
No, yeah, that just isn't what I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but yeah, that just
Right,
isn't what
yeah.
it is.
So when I watched this again, we watched the first episode a couple weeks ago, and it had been a while, and I was like, "Oh, this just is an isekai." Which I gotta say, this is the second isekai we've watched.
Thought it was a third.
Third.
Maybe I'm
Wait a
crazy
minute,
at this
okay, now we
point.
gotta get
no, it's
rundown of
second.
the guys we've
No,
watched.
it's the second. Yeah, it was Drifters and this.
Which I gotta say,
Which were both
I
like-
really like both of them. I'll just go out and say it.
Yeah, no, I liked this.
Overlord was great.
I really enjoyed
Yeah.
this. I'm happy with myself.
I'm a really big fan of it.
Yay, finally an anime that bangs for me.
I mean, I already.
I haven't had this since like what, Devilman?
I already started.
Well, no, Drifters. You guys like Drifters.
I already knew that I liked this, but
I will
You're glad you
say
finished it
I
now.
probably didn't enjoy it as much as you guys did, but I definitely far from hated it.
Oh no, it
I-
is certainly like a first season. Like it ends on, hey, here's set up for season 2.
At no point was I bored. Let's put it that way.
There was a few
Yeah,
points
no, I enjoyed this throughout.
where I felt like I was kind of bored. I think this show does a lot of moments in fighting where they're just talking about what they're going to do or what they can do, and I
It's not an action
absolutely
show.
hate that.
It's
I know,
not an action show.
but like the action when it is happening is kind of all right, or like kind of good even at times, and I'm like,
oh, I disagree.
I mean, I never said it was great. I'm not saying it's fantastic action, but I just like kind of want to see more of that. I kind of hate it just watching people talking about what they're going to do. And I
So
think
you
they
probably
even
love-
mentioned
What
that at
do
one
you
point.
think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is?
But JoJo's like they get fucking crazy with it.
Okay, but wait, Max, does that mean you loved the Shaltier fight at the end?
I did like that, yeah.
God, I hated
Oh,
that.
fuck off.
Let's go a little bit slower.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel? Okay, let's just hit this. How do you guys feel about the opening song?
The opening song is alright.
It's okay.
It's not enough.
I went and re-listened to it before this, just and the ending, which we'll talk about that too. I hate the auto tune in the chorus.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the actual song is really good.
I think
Yeah.
the whole like the whole actual auto tune like being through the whole song, I kind of just never listened to it, and I never really gave it a shot. I just kind of always skipped through it because it was like, yeah.
I
No.
recommend you go and listen to it. They do some really cool uses of English. The lyrics are
There's a lot of English in the
really depressing.
OP-ADD.
The lyrics are all about Momonga losing his body.
Oh shit.
Like,
Like
the whole
one of
thing
the
is,
earliest lines is, "Oh, now all I've got is bones."
and they say bones in
Like, oh,
English,
shit,
and it's
what?
hilarious. But the chorus, I believe, is "Where's my soul?" And it's like, oh my god.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, the whole OP is just basically Momonga dealing, or Ainz, or whatever you want to call him,
Momonga.
dealing with, "Hey, I guess this is my life now."
Momonga was his screen name. Ainz is the name he takes
Ainz Old
later,
Dawn.
but that is the name of his guild.
Yeah.
Because he is the guild now, because everyone else left. So
And
it's just
also,
him.
The
He
entire
has
thing,
inherited everyone.
the entire thing is him desperately searching for another RPG player.
Yeah.
Anyway, the ending. How did you guys feel about that?
Albedo want
I
fuck.
liked it. Oh wait, are you talking about the
fucking-
ending song?
Yeah, the song.
Oh yeah, it was alright.
Albedo want fuck.
Okay, ignoring Albedo, we'll get to her. The song itself, it reminds me a lot of the Panty and Stocking vocal stuff. It's so good. It's such a jam. I love it.
Yeah, it's just not my style, but it's not
It's
like
alright.
particularly. I didn't hate it. You know, it's just not my genre of music. You know, in general.
Okay, well, it's exactly my
Hey, if
thing.
it's your shit, then get down with it. Whatever.
I love it. It's so good. Do we want to kind of go through the little story arcs they do?
Yeah, I
Sure.
think that's probably the best way to handle this show.
Yeah.
The very beginning, I believe the first 2 episodes, pretty much, is just Albedo. I mean, not Albedo. Flippin' Momonga being like, "So, what's going on?"
Oh
Reasonable.
yeah, I like that where he's just like, huh? What the fuck?
Yeah.
And episode 1 is pretty much just, "Hey, here's the characters." And episode 2 is, "Here's the characters some more."
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a lot of like Momonga thinking about it, of just like,
Well,
okay, I
if
guess
this is how it is, I guess I gotta
Huh.
just fuck.
Does this still work? I don't have the
Yeah.
menu anymore. Huh. It's just a lot of him really considering things. And like I like how he's embarrassed about like messing with Albedo's character right before
Yeah, and a lot of
the
times
game starts,
after
where
he
he's
gets-
like, "Oh no, what am I doing? Oh
Yeah.
jeez."
and a lot
At
of
first, I
times
was like,
after-
at first I was kind of like, I kind of wish he didn't do that, and then it kind of grew on me over time. I think she became less obnoxious though. It
I
was
think
kinda
that's
bad at
because
first.
they stopped using her.
Yeah, that's probably also true.
The less Albedo is on the screen, the more I like.
Yeah.
I really like how they personify well, not personify, how they characterize Momonga and his like human self in the beginning, because he'll
Yeah,
give these ridiculous speeches that are like the great power of the supreme ones, and he has this really deep like bone boy voice,
And then he's
and
just like
then you
thinking
get a
to
little,
himself.
and then you get a little inner monologue after it that's just like in his little like it
His
just sounds
nerdy
like
guy
a
voice.
generic guy, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, did I actually just say that?
no, and there's one where it's like he gives a big speech and then he teleports away, and then it's just him standing like up against the wall in the hallway, being like, "Man, I'm fucking tired."
Yeah,
He's like
and I'm like, that's
exhausted
so
from
real.
like
Being
doing
a
putting on
supreme
the
leader
character.
sucks.
He's like playing the character, and he's just like, "Oh man, that's exhausting."
Honestly, it's so interesting how they do that. Like he
Of just on the inside, he's still just a dude.
he
Yeah.
has to deal with being given control of an army.
Yeah,
But I think that's one thing this show really does well. I like the concept this show does. It's a lot of things like ask, what if video games were more like real life? And like, or I mean, a lot of shows handle this with like, what if what if real life was more like video games? But this is like, what if video games were more like real life? Where like, if you had to command an army, it's not just pressing a button. You have to tell people, go here and do this for me.
Yeah, they take the interesting, usually with isekai and RPG anime in general, like fantasy. You start with a solo adventurer, and they gain a party the further they go. With this, it is episode 1. You have a loyal army,
I
which
think
is
that's
fascinating.
and they're
yeah,
all like incredibly powerful in their own right.
and they're all already devoted to him too. They're like,
Yes.
I will die for you.
And honestly, I love every moment where they're loyal to him. You see, like they use the passion of like, I mean, not as much Albedo, but like Demiurge and the Aura and Mare. Like they're very happy about serving Momonga. Like the
Yeah.
maids too. Um, you don't
Wait,
see
one
much.
moment early on I want to mention is when they're like talking about, oh hey, someday Momonga is probably gonna, have like a child, and then you get Cocutus, who's like usually this big stern
Yeah,
tough guy, like getting all really excited
Yeah,
about
he
being an
gets all
uncle, and I was like,
emotional.
oh, I love it. he's like, oh, I get to be an uncle, it's gonna be so awesome. Oh yeah. It's like nice to see this stoic character have like some warmth in him.
and then I thought you were going to bring up how they mention how Momonga is the last of the human characters, the guild leaders. He's the last one, and they're worrying about when he's going to leave because everyone else did.
Mhm.
And there are some lines. I think they're mostly Albedo, but I think Shaltier says at some point that they say Momonga is the one who stayed with us. Like
Yeah,
it's
they
hard
do
not to get
mention
like a
that of
little
like
emotional
you're the
because
one who
you're like,
stuck around, you never left.
to these people, this is like their most respected people in their society, and only one stayed with them, and it's like you could just feel it, like their passion for it. And they're like, how would they react if you left?
Like they really care. You get that from them, and that's good because it's like this is your supporting cast. It's good that you get this sense of just like no, they legitimately care about being serving Ainz.
Well, I did get that. I don't know why. I think that's probably one of the reasons I probably didn't enjoy this as much as you guys. I still really like it. I'm not gonna say that. I just kind of didn't feel for that many of the characters, really. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's not there are some where it's like we don't spend a lot of time with them.
I
If
don't
you're
know.
talking,
Go on. It's just I
if
didn't.
you're
Yeah.
talking. If you're
Sorry.
talking about like the alchemist kid, yes, I completely agree.
Oh
But if you're
no, yeah,
talking
fuck that
about
guy.
But if you're talking about like the maids, I disagree. I think they're very interesting.
Like the maids, the other like the demiurge, like it's pretty like all of them. I just kind of like didn't. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it with that.
I mean, yeah, there are some like Cocutus and Demiurge only get like Demiurge gets like maybe one episode where he's like kind of prominently featured, and then otherwise he's just
He
kind of
never
on the
fights.
side. He never fights. Neither does Cocutus.
Nora, but Albedo.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the selling point of the show is the side cast.
Yeah.
I think that's
if you-
probably why I didn't.
If you
as
don't
much.
like the side cast, you're not gonna like this show.
I didn't hate the show.
The
because of it.
focus
It just,
is Momonga just and how he interacts with the rest of like the main bunch of his servants.
Basically, the show is about not Momonga, but Momonga's relationship to his friends, his world, and what he does with his life, I guess.
I would say this the main thing I like about this is with the whole what if video games were more like real life. It goes more than just what I was talking about with like commanding an army and stuff like that. Just like the whole thing where like he gets into like the first town and he gives people like these items. He's giving them like shit that he got for like $1 at a store, but what it does is so like powerful if it were real. He just is like giving this away and they're like, thanks, Jesus Christ, but thanks. Like
You mean the red? You're probably talking about
I'm
the
talking
red
about
potion.
the red potion and the horn that calls the goblins. I just thought that was crazy. Like I just
The
like that
horn?
idea where he's just
Yeah,
giving this
right.
shit away like it's candy, and they're just
They
like,
come back and they see the goblins, and I'm like, oh no, are they gonna kill some goblins? And they're just like, no, it was the horn.
And you're
just
like, and
these
you're
are
like,
our
oh yeah,
goblins.
that's from a few episodes ago. And you're like,
then
oh.
And then they come back later, and it's a stronger wall.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
another thing I have with this like that I liked is the characters like actually react to how people look and stuff like that. Whereas like you play like a game like Skyrim and you make the ugliest fucking character you could think of, everybody talks to you the same way. Like they might have like some comment based on like what race you are, but like that's more of like just the story of the game. These people are just like, oh my god, he's a skeleton man.
I mean, he doesn't show it to like anyone.
I
Yeah,
know,
he
but
wears
like the
the
few
armor
people
for a
that do
reason.
like see it are like, oh god. Meanwhile, like you meet everybody in Skyrim with a helmet on, where you could never see your face, and then you talk to the same people again without the helmet. They're just like, oh, what's up, Bill?
And also kind of like on the same thing of like, oh, all of the Guardians really care about Momonga. Momonga also shows a lot of moments of like warmness and caring about the Guardians, where he'll be like very nice and friendly with them and show that he really cares, and that like just kind of strengthens the bond.
He's a bone dad.
Yeah.
Bone Daddy!
I love him.
Gonna give him the bone!
Anyways, there's the whole thing where he's trying to stop Albedo from killing everybody, like all the humans.
Yeah.
And I also like that idea with the whole video games in real life. You play a game like Fallout New Vegas, or you like hire your companion Boone, and you're like, all right, kill these people, and he's like, I'm against killing these people, but okay, and then he just kills them. This show is just like, he has to make like an active effort to make sure she's not killing anybody that she's not supposed to be killing, or making sure they don't do anything wrong. It's not like you can just click one setting on a person and they'll be like, oh, okay, I won't do that. No, he has to like keep on saying it. I really like that part.
Well, yeah, but that's like what we were talking about how a lot of the focus is him being like a leader.
Yeah.
And most of the time, he's a very competent leader, and I think that's one reason why it's very satisfying to watch.
To watch.
In general, to watch
yeah,
the
yeah.
show.
Yeah,
Like-
okay. I was confused. I thought you were gonna say like watch
'Cause,
something
yeah,
specific.
He cares and he's like doing a good job
Yeah.
despite how out of his element he is.
As much as I hate to admit it, that's the appeal of isekai. It's watching someone who is not you be incredibly competent at something
it's
you'd like to do.
It's like somebody completely in a different area, like somebody that should be out of their element, and then they're just replaced into the right area. It was like perfect.
Yeah, but with Momonga, you see he is out of his element at a good few times where
Oh yeah,
he'll,
no,
like,
there's a few. Yeah.
he doesn't, but he's still like working past that and doing well.
Yeah. What? So where did we leave off with the story arc? What was the next part?
We didn't even get to the second one. The second story arc is him. He goes and tries to communicate with the humans. He saves a town, and then he goes to a different town and becomes a completely normal adventurer. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
He's not a skeleton.
Yeah, he just has like a big suit of armor. He looks like
And
a
he
Dark
he
Knight
does
from
take his helmet
Zelda.
off at one point, but we don't see like the disguised face he put on.
And he legitimately joins a regular adventuring party.
Yeah.
I just want to say there are these two old school style indie RPGs called Cthulhu Saves the World and The Breath of Death 7.
Sure. Two
Or
hells
8.
of names.
Okay.
But these old school like pixel RPGs that were made in the past 10-ish years, they're cheap. You can get them on Steam. They're basically about the most unorthodox adventuring parties saving the world. And Cthulhu Saves the World is, of course, about Cthulhu. But Breath of Death 8 or 7 is about just a regular old skeleton saving the world. And that's all I could think of.
Because and I also like that of how Momonga's just been like, I've been being this evil villain in the game forever, and now he's in this fantasy world and he's actually being a good person.
It's hilarious to see him waltz into an inn and just be like, "Hey, can I have a copper level quest, please?"
Do you have any quests for me? Oh man,
I
what if
would
he
like
just
a
talked like
quest,
freaking Rio from freaking Shenmue? Do you
I would
have
like
any
a
quest
quest,
for me?
please.
Do you know
Ma'am,
anywhere?
I would like a quest.
Do you
Do
know
you have
anybody
any
that can
quests,
teach me
ma'am?
Italian? Excuse me, do you know when the dock opens? That would be perfect.
And there's also when he's saving the town, there's like the evil heaven cult
Oh yeah,
that he
yeah.
just like mops the
You mean
floor
the-
with, and he's like, "Oh, these are enemies from the game,
Slain.
okay." And
The
that's
only-
like part of him realizing, okay, stuff has carried over.
No, the only enemies in this show are the slain theocracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are basically a sort of religious country cult thing, and they have this cult, I believe, called the Black Scripture.
They have like multiple
I didn't pick
like
up on the name
something
of what it was.
scriptures. They're like factions or
I believe the
Teams.
woman Clementine, she was one of the Black Scripture, and she was very high ranking.
like she was a regular adventurer before she became evil.
But I believe she like ditched the slain theocracy and just tried to do her own thing.
But I just want to
That's
mention
dark.
because during like the fight with like the one slain theocracy guy, the main dude in that group is totally Dio's voice actor. It's just like it's the voice. It had to be him.
Oh yeah,
He
I
even
forgot
says
to
Muda.
mention.
He even says Muda a couple times.
I actually watched this show subbed again. Just two weeks in a row I've watched the show subbed.
That's good. I looked up the dub, and it's not no names I recognize.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
tried watching the dub, but like I watched the first episode subbed when we watched the show during Anime Club, and
Right.
like just switching is kind of weird for me. So
Yeah.
I was just like we're just gonna watch it subbed.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, in episode 4 when Stronov is like having a fight with some of the theocracy guys, there's like some very like strong like budget going into that. I remember.
You mean the CG?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, are we gonna talk about CG?
I think it's passable most of the time.
I think
Yeah. For the most part, I was like, it's like there are times where I'm like, but for the most part, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is all right. I can accept this.
there's
like,
a lot of CG in the show, but like I think they get the pass for it. Like they don't use it on regular ass people. It's usually on like, oh, this is like the super boss monster, or this is like the weird angel
skeletons.
guys, or the skeletons. It's like those are hard to draw.
and I
Those
think
are
there's a
hard
few moments where like Ain's in the armor is
Yeah,
CG.
yeah.
Yeah,
But that like it's still like it's not. It's kind of quick and it's still like it doesn't look clunky.
it's quick and he's doing something different. Like I hate it when something just pretends that like it switches to CG and it's like doing something that it was already animating. Like that always hate, but like this is like it's consistent with its CG usage, and I think that's how you do it. And also everything that it used CG on made sense that they used CG on it. Like
the skeleton dragons and such.
yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
I cannot diss this show's use of CG. It's fine.
It's passable.
I mean,
It's
right
like
after
stiff here and there, but for the most part, I'm like, yeah, no, it's okay. I'm cool with it.
I mean, right after what we just watched together in the club, we just watched this show. I don't even remember the title of it.
Yozakura Quartet.
Yeah.
I will name drop it. It's that bad.
It's not very good. We didn't like it, and it just kind of peppered CG into regular scenes with the characters just being in CG. Yeah, it was awful.
Like background characters are CG, but
That's normal,
characters are not.
I know, but like it's just like it sometimes did put the normal characters in CG, and then cut back to them as normal, and I hated it. It's gross. It's like just have them all one or all the other. Like I hate that.
Oh yeah, and there are body pillows in this world.
The
Yeah,
Ein's
I have a
body
note.
pillow? No, body pillow.
I literally just says I have a note that says Im's body pillow with a bunch of question marks and exclamation points after it.
I love it.
That's what happens when your gods are weebs.
I hate Albedo, but man, is that scene funny.
Yeah, Demi, you're just
No
like,
comment.
wait, is that a fucking body pillow? And Albedo's like, yup.
I love
She's like, what are you gonna do about it?
Demiurge is like, he's like another dad, but he just has to ignore all the weird things. He can't call them out. He's just like, oh, Albedo and Shaltier are fighting over Momonga. I'm just gonna walk away.
He's like, man, do I report
I'm just
this?
gonna let this sort itself.
And I gotta say, I love Demiurge.
I like his character.
Cool.
I just didn't really feel for like the.
He's not around often. He doesn't.
Yeah,
do
I think that's probably
much.
my thing with him.
They never.
I imagine in the future, him and like Kikirtis get more to do.
Probably.
From my understanding, the Guardians are a lot more important in later seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, because they're fun. I enjoyed those characters.
Oh my god! I was just looking at the fucking character list and I forgot there's the fucking Touch Me.
Yeah,
that's one of the names of. Yeah, one of the names is of the like.
Because like
original.
He was a really good paladin guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Touch Me.
That's something I loved. All of the names were ridiculous screen names.
It's either like when you play a fantasy game, it's either three things. It's somebody's like actual name, or like the name they use for everything. Something horribly obscene, or something like trying way too hard.
Or just meme.
Yeah. I'd put meme in the obscene category, but yeah.
Yeah.
Touch Me.
Big Hamster.
Oh yeah, the big ass hamster is a good character.
The rodent of unusual size.
The rat.
No one. Princess Bride. Okay.
I've
seen part of Princess Bride.
It's been years. I need to watch that movie again.
I haven't seen it in full.
I'm very disappointed that I don't remember that much from it.
You know what? Hot take. It's not that good.
Okay. Wow. Jeez.
Oh wow.
But
Watch we get like viewership go down at this moment when you say that.
I don't care.
Wow.
It's not like we're making money out of this anyway.
Anyways.
But yeah, my two notes on the rodent is rodent of unusual size, which is Princess Bride reference, and then giant rat that makes all the rules. I don't care about the thing.
Clementine, how we feel about her?
Her outfit is beautifully useless.
It is just a bunch of adventurer plates.
Oh like, yeah,
formed together into bra and panties of chainmail.
She didn't even like melt it together. It is literally just them.
It's just welded.
She just kind of like chained them together.
Which is the most RPG thing in this.
Yeah.
Is the good old chainmail bikini?
Yes, I love it. I love the scene where he fights, air quotes, her.
Yeah.
That was he hugs her to death. It's brutal.
I was actually like, I was like getting into that scene. I was just like, "Oh my god, shut up and kill her already!" And then he starts like squeezing her to death. I'm like, "Oh jeez, oh god."
Oh no, and
Like
it's great
I
because
had like
she's
a
just
complete
like
180 on that scene. I was like
she's just
hating
like
it, and then like,
losing it on
jeez.
him while he's like grasping her in like the bear hug, and she's just like flailing wildly at him, just headbutting and throwing punches, and she's like losing teeth and bleeding, and then he just finishes her off and just breaks her spine, and it's just like,
There's
ooh.
there's I think 2 scenes in this where Moonga gets stabbed and they don't know he's a skeleton.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Why aren't you hurt?" And then he takes it off and he's just like, "Because
Psych.
I'm a spooky
'Cause I'm a fucking
skeleton."
skeleton.
I
And I
have
love it.
no organs. And they're just like, fuck, and like there's like, yeah, Clementine like explicitly goes to stab him in the eyes, and like she does the cool thing where like she turns the swords and then fire comes out throughout like his whole body, and then he's just like, nah, there's nothing in there. It doesn't work.
That would have been really useful had I had skin.
Or like just during the fight where he's like, I'll give you a handicap. I'm not going to take you seriously.
But is that the same fight that had the skeletal dragon? Or is it something else?
Yes.
Yes, same
There's a
time.
part, okay, there's a part where he just goes, "Is that a skeletal dragon?" or something like that, and then somebody's just like, "Wow, that's right, you really know your stuff." And I'm like, is it? Is that really indication that he's smart? Because it's a dragon, that's a skeleton, that's a skeleton dragon. I don't know. I just
Also,
found that.
No comment.
I just thought it was a
something
stupid
I
moment.
gotta say about this. I got something I gotta say about the skeleton dragon. In its roar, there's definitely Godzilla's roar in there. I can make it
I
out.
wouldn't be
I didn't notice.
surprised.
Of course. Well, of course it's me.
Of
You
course,
know I
yeah.
had to point this out.
Residential
but
Godzilla expert
If you listened
TM.
into it, you can hear like the back end of the roar. It's in there. And I'm not surprised because Godzilla's roar is used for like stock sounds a lot in other things.
Yeah.
But I'm
While,
not shocked.
well-
But I noticed it and I was like, yeah.
while we're on the
Of course
topic,
I'm happy about it.
while we're on the topic of that fight, the maid in that scene, Narvaral or Nabe, if you want, she insults the old man, and every time she insults him, her insult gets smaller.
Yeah.
I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah, that's
She
right.
starts out with like, I think it's like rodents, like rats and stuff, but then she gets smaller and smaller. I think she does planarian.
She
And then
eventually
she
gets down
does-
to amoeba.
She gets down to amoeba, and I think that's when she kills him. I love that.
Oh
detail.
no, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Of just she takes him even less and less like as even like anything close to a threat.
You're not
also-
even ants. You're not even amoeba.
But also, Nabe is totally a dom.
Yes, I knew
Okay.
you would say this. I knew you would say that. But also, you're right.
she's good. Shaltier was good, but then she became a vampire, and then she's
Oh no, that lamprey form was freaky as fuck.
that
that
was
was
really
freaky.
good. Yeah.
Did you guys notice that the adventurer girl from the beginning
Yes,
throws the red potion at her?
yeah, I noticed that.
I wrote, did the adventurer lady just throw an infinitely valuable red health potion at a vampire?
In an attempt to stop it.
Yes,
So that happened.
but yeah,
Congratulations, you made it
lamprey
stronger.
form was freaky. It made me think about like Castlevania again, of just like, ooh, I like it when vampires are more than just kind of immortal person that sucks blood. It's like actual monster stuff,
Yeah.
like Dracula turning into fire and shit.
Or Nosferatu.
Also,
Yeah.
like, just really, like, you're gonna put Sheltier's fucking bad guy turn in the post credits.
Oh
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
imagine watching the next episode and you didn't watch the post credits.
Yeah,
You'd be
I'm
like,
glad I
"What the
warned you
fuck?
about those.
What happened?" It's
those
so
were
inconsistent.
both
It's weird. If you're
post-credits.
gonna have post credits in your anime, do it consistently.
There's what, 2 or 3 post credits?
There's 3.
Two.
There's 3. There's one during the fight at the end.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's the one where it ends
That one's
with
not as important though.
because that one at the end of the second to last episode is the start of the final episode. So
Yeah. So there's that fight. What happened after that?
What?
Right after. No, not the. I mean, what happened right before she turned? That's what I meant.
Clementine fight. That's
Yeah,
it.
the Clement. Okay, there was nothing in between that.
No, not
Oh, shit,
I
really.
I
think it was just
forgot.
more like learning about stuff,
It's short. There's not much.
Yeah.
and then it's oh, Shelter turned heel, time to take her out.
Oh,
Let
there's
me just say-
the preparation for that.
No, I love the scene where Ainz, like right before the fight, is just buffing himself a bunch.
Oh, I'm talking about
Full
where
buff.
he realizes he has to go get the weapons and he
Oh,
goes
you
to
mean- oh,
yeah, no,
Pandora's
that's-
actor.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that guy.
Let me
I
just
like
say,
that guy.
do you like his voice actor?
I didn't listen to his voice that hard, but I just thought
Who else is
What-
that
what
voice
is his
actor?
actor?
Well,
I
let me
imagine
just
where
say
you're
that
going.
voice actor is known for his extreme theatrics.
oh, that's
He is
hilarious.
also- He is also the main character of. Wait, what's hilarious?
No, just the fact that he's known for his theatrics and his character
And
is
that's the
kind of just
character.
like over the top,
Very
stupid.
over the top, and then Ainz is like, "Oh God, why
Yeah.
did I was so young. Why did I think this was cool?"
I believe it's Mamoru Miyano who voiced Okabe in Steins Gate, the main character,
All right.
But we haven't fucking watched Steins
who
Yeah.
is known for screaming, "I am a mad scientist." It's so cool.
Okay.
It's perfect. It's so perfect.
I
I need
genuinely
contact check from that.
like Pandora's actors like design. I think it's really cool.
Of course
The
you do.
military
I know,
uniform.
of course I do. It's military guy with the fucking weird mask. He has a big coat. Those are like the 3 things.
I mean, it's intentionally dumb. So
It's so dumb, but like
No, and at one point
I
he like speaks
unironically
German,
like
and
it.
Ainz is like, "Stop it, cut it out."
it's a dumb look, and I unironically like it. That says a lot about my sense of fashion, though.
Well, I mean, like Metal Gear is like that, where it's like, "Hey, here's a military person, but with weird stuff.
Yeah.
Here's a dude in a gas mask. He floats and reads your mind."
Here's a cowboy, but he's wearing a weird suit vest and fucking spurs, but also is an old man. I don't know.
And he's Russian.
We'll get Metal Gear is its own can of worms.
Awesome.
I could talk. I want to just have an entire day to talk about Metal Gear.
When the movie comes out in the year 2020X.
Yeah. If the movie comes out in the year 2020X.
sorry, I had to get that Shalashashka.
Yeah,
out there.
Shalashashka.
Revolver, Ocelot.
Yes. Back to the show. He
Ainz
goes back.
just summons a Sharknado.
He does. He literally says shark cyclone.
I did
I'm
not
just like-
put those two in my mind together.
And the moment I saw that, I'm just like, he really just summoned a Sharknado, huh?
He did. He has a spell
Sharknado
that is
attack.
Sharknado.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna talk about the scene where he's powering up before the fight, where he just lists off this absurd list of like spells and enchantments that he puts on himself. It's like power up, fire resist 2. It just keeps putting everything in.
Yeah,
I just
and
thought
I
it was
think-
a great scene.
That's video games, man.
I think that's a hangover from the light novels because, from what I understand, the light novels go into a lot of detail about how the game Yggdrasil worked.
I kind of liked how they didn't have that for most of it, but like this part, like particular where he's just powering up, like I don't need to know how the game actually worked. I know that would have been a game concept, and it just straightforward, like he's just doing it, and it's just like I don't know. I
But it's
really
funny,
like
just
that.
like he's going into this big boss fight, and he's just like, "All right, just gotta put every single buff I've got on me."
Like I was gonna say, I really like the Shaltir fight from a, like, I guess, narrative perspective, because it completely destroys the concept of power creep. Ainz is absolutely better than everything else in this world except his own crew.
Yeah.
They're the
And
only thing that comes close to him.
And it's basically not explained how the mind control worked on Shaltir. He thinks it's a world item. They don't really know.
At first, I
No
thought
one
she
else
just
knows
kind
what
of
a
went
world item is.
crazy.
I thought she was just defecting normally.
I'm defecting.
Yeah, that's what I assumed was, because of the Albedo jealousy, she's betraying.
But that's just such a cool enemy, like, because Ainz, I mean, unfortunately, Ainz says that Shaltir was the strongest of the Guardians, which I think is a lame thing to say.
Yeah, because
But
that means
needed to say that.
that means
Then
there's
why is
no
Albedo the
more
leader?
badass.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, how they do conflict in the next seasons,
Yeah.
because you can't go up from there.
Yeah.
Like, you've established Ainz is the strongest in the world.
That we know of, at least.
That we know of, yeah. That's the one thing.
I do have the note of just Ainz just Joseph Joestarred Shaltir.
Oh, yeah, he's
'Cause,
like,
I mean-
I knew you were going to do that, so therefore I did this, but I pretended to not know you were going to do that, so I did this, like, crazy...
Like, just the whole master planned it from the start thing.
I was only pretending to be an idiot the whole time.
I think if you guys attribute that to Joseph Joestar, you haven't seen enough things.
I mean, I guess not, but I know there's a lot of things in anime that do it, but...
It's an easy association.
Joseph Joestar is an icon for it.
I'll give you that, but I think it's just tactics.
I'm not saying
but it's
that
like
Joseph
incredibly BS, well in advance, extremely specific tactics.
Yeah, but first of all, this guy literally no-lifed the game, and second of all, he knew how Shaltir coded.
True.
Yeah. I think the way I was thinking about it is Joseph Joestar isn't the most, like, I guess the most example of it. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but he's most known for doing it. I don't fucking know.
Because that's his whole gimmick, is he fights with his brain, whereas other, like, JoJo's fight with just being strong.
I don't know, I just kind of stumbled through that entire sentence, so whatever.
But yeah, that basically what we're getting at is just Ainz is the strongest and smartest, and
But,
no
yeah,
one can beat him.
Back to what you were saying about how he knows how she's programmed. I think that the title of that episode was like player versus NPC or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I know that you won't do this because of this or something like that. No, it's crazy.
But then he just basically, like, nukes her twice again after nuking her at the start of the fight and wins.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about that fight.
Yeah. I really liked how it went down.
I don't. I got really bored.
Ah.
I was like, yeah, they're just gonna whack each other with spells for way too long.
I thought it was cool because they were whacking each other with spells for way too long.
And then it gets to end, and he's like, I'm going to use all the power of everyone who was with me to defeat you.
As someone who plays RPGs, that part hurt me.
You see, that's how I play RPGs terribly.
Well, it's like, if you get a world item, which isn't really a thing in the games I've played, but like I play World of Warcraft, I know the concept. If you get that and it's one use, don't use it. That's how I play these games. I'm like, don't waste it like that. He uses like 6. And he gives more to Aura and Mare to finish the job.
I think the idea is that now that he's in this world, he's like, well, shit, this is my life. If I die, I die. So he's kind of more scared, and he's more apt to use them, I think.
Yeah, but he's ready to die though.
I guess, yeah.
He gives a whole speech like, "If I die, it's fine. Don't worry about it. This is what I want to do." And I think he's fine with dying also because he's stuck in the world.
Well, I think another thing is though, like, yeah, sure, he's fine with dying, but I don't think him losing the fight is what he wants to do either. So
Okay, but think of this: if no one is stronger than him, how can he die?
I don't know, because he's like
a
a
lich,
so he can't. Yeah.
He can't.
I was kind of thinking, like, I know it has a second season, but maybe, like, in canon, he wanted to fight Shaltir to see if he could die.
Maybe. I didn't get that impression off of him, though. I feel like if that is what he would have done, that they would have made a bigger, like, he would have made a speech internally about that or something.
It's just me extrapolating, but because, I analyze stuff, but I just think it's something interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Of just how can this seemingly unstoppable force die? How can you have stakes for this guy who is the strongest in the world?
Where's the fun of anything if you can't?
The later seasons have to explore is how do you have things matter?
Isn't that like one of the plots of the Final Fantasy where there's like a guy that just can't die and he's like sad because of it or something? I don't know.
I mean, I imagine that's in a lot of things where it's just like I can't die because I'm just too strong and too good.
Now that we're talking about analysis and stuff, there's something I was thinking about halfway through, and you guys can just immediately laugh at me for thinking of this, but I think you can read this as a I don't want to say the word, as a metaphor for like growing out of stuff, because he's thrust into something new that he doesn't understand with a different body, with all of his friends are gone. Couldn't that just be a metaphor for becoming an adult?
Yeah, I can
say that.
Like there are more moments where he reflects and is like, everyone else moved on with their lives except for me.
Right.
I'd say the show doesn't show that directly, but also I'm kind of glad that even if it was about that they didn't, because that would have been really annoying. So
it's like left implied and kind of in the.
If it was implicit, then that's great.
Okay, so.
Or that's a great way of doing it.
As someone who is studying literary analysis, you guys are missing my point.
No, I get what you mean though. Like he's.
No, I get what you're getting at.
Cause like I don't know, there's just some scenes, especially when, I think the scene was when he's at the campfire with all the random adventurer dudes, and he's like, all my friends are gone. It's just me now, and he gets kind of sad, and it's just like, yeah, that's kind of what growing up is like. You lose some friends. You didn't want to lose them, but
yeah,
you're on to doing different things now, and that's just how it is.
Make some new friends in this weird, wacky world that he lives in.
Yeah, and in that metaphor, I think the Guardians are his family.
Yeah, they're basically like the surrogates. Like, oh, I've lost all my friends, but now I have these new ones.
And there's also the whole thing where he's talking about his old friends. Like he has all his armor and stuff from his old friends that like oh, I'm done with this game. Here's all my shit. You can have it. And he's like, I don't want to use it or sell it. I'm just gonna put it on an armor stand in case they ever do come back.
Cherishes the memories.
Which they probably won't, but like he keeps it there just in case.
He has a vault of memories, and it's really sad.
And he says like, oh, one day if I ever die, I'll put all my stuff here too. And then you can just be with them.
Or if I ever quit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was his plan before he, ended up in this world.
Yeah.
There was a... This is completely unrelated. I'm just going through my notes. Sorry. Does anybody have anything else to say on that?
No, it's fine. Go
ahead. There's just a little moment. They're talking about voice actors or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's like,
with Sebas.
He's like, oh man, I was gonna get this adult game, but then I heard my sister was a voice actor in it. No, I just can't.
I don't know. I can't do that, man. And then they're just both like, yeah, no, don't, none, can't do it.
That's so funny.
It's just kind of out of nowhere. I just love that. Oh, but then they were talking about like something about voice actors in universe, like,
Yeah, like Sheltier is talking to like Sebas about it.
and they're like, oh, voice actors, they put their souls into things or something to make them come alive.
Because that's their understanding of it.
Because like I guess that goes back to the video game in real life. It's like these NPCs have been hearing everything the players have been saying this whole time, so they've heard them talk about voice actors before. And if you were like, you know, a dude in like Skyrim or like, you know, World of Warcraft, and you heard people talking about random shit from their world, you'd have no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Or like,
canonically, they can hear you.
Which one? Mare is a boy dressed as a girl.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and everyone, all of the Guardians are like, oh, I guess
That's how it is with
That's just-
you know,
yeah, that's how it is.
Supreme Being's world. It's like that. Totally.
Well, no, I think Demiurge brings it up with Albedo, because Albedo is like, what am I gonna do if my kid with Momonga is a guy? And then Demiurge is like, oh no, don't worry, you can just dress them in girls' clothes. That's what Mare does.
Or no, he's like, no, they say something like, oh, that's the Supreme Beings that in their world, that's how it is.
Yes. Oh man.
I mean, they don't know anything. It really could be.
Their creators are just a bunch of otaku, so
I mean,
that's how you end up with canon body pillows.
that's another thing that's really interesting to me. That's basically a creation myth, but if all of the gods are just nerds,
Yes.
like
And I
all of the
like that
characters-
aspect.
Like, you have
that's
the
really fun.
You have the really grimdark and like serious characters like Demiurge and Cocytus and Sebas. But then you get like the maids, where one of them is just a really seductive slime girl, and you have like Aura and Mare, which they're actually creative.
But still, you just like, you have the blatantly like, yeah, serious stuff, and then you just have goofy anime stuff.
Well, and also Albedo was a really serious, like hateful character, but Momonga changed it 2 seconds before.
Yeah.
And that's how you end up with Albedo want fuck.
Gross.
Yeah, a little
That's
too
her
much of
character.
that.
Get her out of here.
I think she got fine
Throw
as the
her
series
away.
went on, but yeah, also going back to the whole, I kind of just stopped using her.
She was a good gag character, but I feel like if they made her a main character, she'd be horribly annoying.
Yeah. I think they
Yeah.
need to have a plot. I don't know anything about the second season. A plot where he like just addresses it.
He's
Or
like,
something.
hey, I think he almost does mention it in this season where he's like, hey, I kind of messed with your personality a
Well,
little
even
bit.
if he doesn't explain why it's like that, just where he's just like, hey, back off. Or something like that.
Well, he doesn't care. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He
He
physically
likes these
cannot care.
characters. He doesn't want to be mean to them. He is
No,
explicitly
when
like
he-
friendly with them.
When he starts getting any emotion, he gets calmed down.
Oh yeah.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like-
that's right. The one little like the green like effect that happens anytime he gets like starts getting angry or sad or whatever.
Any kind of
Because he's
emotion.
undead.
It happens at the beginning when Albedo's flirting with him.
Oh yeah. It's like
Because
a
he's
weird
undead,
like
so he
status
can't
effect.
really externally show emotion.
Well, he starts feeling them, but then something calms him down, and he
Yeah.
doesn't know because it wasn't in the game. Just thought that was interesting.
Is that
Yeah.
a future? I guess that could be a future plot point.
Yeah, kind of like ReZero, because in ReZero, a kid gets isekai'd, and for some reason he has a curse where every time he dies, he goes back to a certain point.
Okay.
So it's Isekai Groundhog Day.
But it's never like the whole thing is like him trying to figure out why he's cursed that way, because apparently, like one of the gods of the world wants to keep him alive for some reason. It's pretty interesting, kind of, to a point.
But then we end with this with lots of setup for season 2 that didn't happen until this year.
No, I think season 2 was
Or was it last year?
I think it was last
this year was season 3.
Yeah.
I could have sworn they were like back to
probably-
back.
Maybe it was
oh,
back to back over the year mark.
Maybe. Let me look into it just a sec. Overlord 2 started in January of this year.
You're right. It went January, July.
So yeah, it's been like not quite 3 years.
But also that made the third season really suffer. So
because they did it immediately after. They cranked it out right after doing 2, and 2 they had like lots of time.
It's kind of funny because this is an isekai. It is an action-focused shonen. It's kind of sad.
Not really shonen,
It's not entirely action based.
But I love it.
No, I really enjoyed this.
It's such a good time.
That was pretty good.
I'm willing to continue and watch more of the series.
I feel like it's one of those things that got better. I hope season 2 is like just only better from here. Sad to hear people don't like season 3 as much, but got hopes for a season 2 at least.
Yeah.
The guy literally has a monster girl hero. He does. You can't argue against this.
The maids, yeah.
Well, I meant Albedo.
Just in general, yeah.
Laura.
Is this the dream?
The maids don't really seem to like him. Like they like him, they respect him.
They're not really major in this season. Maybe they get more to do next season.
Nabe is like really important.
Yeah, but she's like the only one who gets any time.
She's the only guardian who fights solo, except Shaltir.
Yeah. Like maybe the rest of the maids will get more screen time and development in future seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all we got to say?
That's all I have.
I'm looking through again.
I don't really have that much else on my notes.
But yeah.
So, Connor, you got anything?
Do we want to talk about the RPG party he hangs out with?
I don't have anything on that.
I mean, they're just like there's some all very like friendly characters, I guess, and then it's like, oh, that they died. That sucks.
Yeah, and then they find out that
the mage was a girl.
Yeah, they find out that the one kid was a girl and she was hiding it. That made me sad. Yeah. And then he does scream at Clementine. He's like, he mentions it. He's like, this is vengeance for that.
Oh yeah.
And then as he's bear hugging her, all the plates start like coming off of her armor.
Yeah,
it's a cool visual.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. I have to say, at least.
I like the setting a lot. I was really itching recently for just a generic fantasy setting. I really wanted to watch like something classic. I can't think of it. Like I've been reading Lord of the Rings recently, and I'm like, yeah, this is so like generic fantasy.
Yeah, like, I think that's probably the reason I wasn't.
Have I sufficiently scratched that itch?
I think
actually, thank you.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing that I didn't prefer. I kind of hate generic fantasy setup.
It depends. Like you can do it well, but it can be done poorly as well.
Okay, give an example, Max.
It's just another field to fight in. Really, I don't know. I just find it boring.
But basically, are you just like screaming at the sky like Tolkien?
I don't hate it that much. I think that's just one of the reasons that I wasn't, as big into it as you guys probably are. I'm never as big of a fantasy fan. There's a few fantasy things that I will get into, that I will like, but I just, I
literally write fantasy.
I am not saying that fantasy is bad. I am just saying it's not mine. I like sci-fi.
And I'm saying that this is my reasoning.
I'm not attacking you.
I'm not arguing anything. I'm just saying I love fantasy. I live fantasy. I can get why you wouldn't like it. Yeah. I love it.
I enjoyed this show. I'm glad you guys more or less enjoyed it too.
I don't know why I stopped watching it.
Yeah, you got like.
I feel like it's one of the cases where something else came up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you didn't finish it because then I got to do it for this.
I wouldn't mind rewatching it. I had a great time.
I will gladly watch
another season
2 and maybe 3.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, ratings.
All right, somebody else go first.
Solid like 8.
8.
I'm closer to 7, maybe six and
That's
a half
okay.
even. But like, it's not me. It's just the, or it's not the show. It's me. It's just like,
It's your personal feeling.
It's perfectly fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's
Yay.
all. Showdown.
Are you guys ready?
What do you got up your sleeve this time?
What am
Are
I
you ready
for?
for not Akira?
Damn it! There was
Sorry.
debate. We are doing a movie this week, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah. We should probably preface. We
We fucked
discussed
up
it.
timing,
Timing is getting weird. We're just going to do another movie so we can have another episode out.
but we're
soon.
doing an anime movie. Like that was the
Yeah,
one
specifically.
requirement.
I'm going to do another movie next episode, so it'll stay on schedule. Nothing's going to get screwed up. But anyway, I am doing Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
Blood what?
Bloodlust.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I know
I've heard
very.
of
That is such
Vampire
a
Hunter D. It's a name I've heard before.
it's such a generic sounding name. What?
Vampire Hunter D is a fairly famous novel series that is pretty old. There was a movie in '85 just called Vampire Hunter D. It is critically panned. People hate it. This movie is the second movie. It covers the second book, but it's self-contained.
Okay.
Came out in 2000. Has great reviews. I'm excited.
Okay. You found a
It's-
horror thing.
It's a Vampire Hunter. It was this or Akira, pretty much.
Yeah, you mentioned there was more than like 2. There was a few you were juggling.
I'm still depressed that. Actually, I probably shouldn't say anything. I really wanted. I know this is unrelated. I'm disappointed we didn't do any witches this season. I mean, yeah, this like Halloween because I really wanted to do the anime Flying Witch, but
Yeah, I know you've talked really positively about that in the past, and you would have because I picked American Werewolf in London, so you would have ended up doing that.
But it happens. Go watch it on
Scheduling
time.
problems, yeah.
Um,
Anyways,
So yeah, that's
Woo!
about all. Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
goodbye.